Confusing XGF situation. Hey everyone, first post here. I just don't know who to talk to or what to think about my current XGF situation, and hopefully someone has some insight or has been through this before. Context: me 31M and my XGF 30F have known each other since I moved when I was 9, went to middle high school together, and we've hooked up before in HS a few times. I've always felt that this girl truly liked me, and I've always thought she was one of the most beautiful, kindest, sweetest souls I've ever met. When I went off to college and I'd come home for whatever reason, we would sometimes hook up as well. So we have some past history, and because of that I don't just see this girl as some regular relationship that I can't get over when it's done. I see her as a lifelong friend, and someone I truly, genuinely care about, whether we're in a romantic relationship or not. Fast forward to 2022, and we saw each other again randomly. Ended up hanging out, and pretty much hooking up more than we ever have. I started to grow I love you type feelings for this girl, as we were talking every day and sleeping together almost every night. We'd go out and drink, but I never knew the extent she was hiding how much she was drinking. She would drink before we went to sleep, apparently drank before her work shift at 8 AM, etc. Mind you, we had only been talking for maybe a month or two at this point, so I just thought she drank regularly. We'd have a few while we were out, that's it. So unknown to me, her father realized this problem and sent her to rehab. I was shocked, and my heart dropped to my toes. When was I going to see this girl again? Will I ever see this girl again? I hope she's alright. How did I not know she had a problem, and why didn't I help more, etc. I thankfully got her address from her mother and wrote her. She gets out of rehab after a month, and we basically start back up where we left off relationship-wise, not drinking-wise. I've always been extremely supportive of her, and out of respect I would never drink in front of her or hang out with her after I have drank. After about a month or two, I told her I was in love with her, changed my FB profile pic and everything. We were official. A few months go by, and everything's great. In April of 2023 I can honestly say is where my slight insecurity began, and I am still kicking myself for falling into this trap. She was saying that she thought she could drink, and one night at 9 PM she randomly goes, "Let's go out, bring your liquor bottle over." I was reluctant and obviously ignorant, and I brought it over. We go out that night, we drink, and she ended up getting pretty drunk, so I said let's leave. I go to close out my tab, and she's nowhere to be found. I am searching, calling and texting, nothing. This goes on for about an hour or two, so I am freaking out at this point. I then get a text from her, but it was some random guy saying I am one of the bouncers and I am taking care of her. Now I am in WTF mode. I can't get back in the club either because there was a huge line at this point and there was a cover. I asked the door guy if he remembered me, but he didn't and told me to get in the back of the line. Long story short, she ends up getting picked up by her mom who lives very close, and I end up driving over there and spending the night. I went home, pissed, thought our relationship was done. Next morning, I ask her WTF happened. She has no clue and she's sorry. I felt like she cheated. This stuck out to me because she seemed to be very defensive. That apology obviously isn't a real one, and it just gave me a bad vibe. We end up going back to her house and sleeping, more hangover type day. Well, I woke up and asked why my bottle was so low. It wasn't that low before we left for the club, and she said IDK we drank it last night, or my cat drank it, sarcastically. I had a gut feeling she drank some at some point without me knowing. Turns out she admitted months later to drinking some without me. This is where I started getting somewhat insecure with her. I am not an insecure person, and unknown to me at the time, this was the start of the end. She has always said that because she's newly sober that it was hard for her to have, and she was never in the mood and didn't enjoy it. I was always respectful of her words, never too pushy, always tried to show her that is an amazing thing with the right person. I am a pleaser, so I get turned on the more she's turned on. After her denying me an abnormal amount of times 1 week in June, I asked her straight up, "Are you even attracted to me? Do you love me? The last thing I want is to keep trying to make love to someone that is either faking it or not enjoying it." She admitted that she fell out of love, and again my heart fell to my toes. Of course I did the whole writing novels, "Why are you doing this? What happened? What can I do?" type responses. She said she is confused, doesn't know what she wants, but she wanted to do things on her own and not be in a relationship. I was obviously heartbroken, but in a way she's been saying this since she got out of rehab, that she didn't want to hold me back, that things are going to be different when she gets home, and that she would understand if I didn't want to be with her, which was so untrue. And I believe in sticking with the person you love through thick and thin, So after the argument I came to my senses and realized the romantic aspect of our relationship was over. I thought she cheated based on that night in April or some other time. Honestly, I've been cheated on in all my relationships and I will admit it's a huge fear of mine, but like I said, I am not an insecure person or bring accusations past issues into my current relationships. Only when something sketchy like April happens and when we can't communicate about it without getting defensive is when I get a little insecure. For whatever reason, the next day I told her I was going to a pool and she was more than welcome to come. She did. I ended up crashing at her house that night and we ended up basically acting like nothing happened. Her b-day was in 5 days and I think I just wanted her to have a good b-day too, not really sure. Fast forward to August 2023, and I get a call from her after work saying she was going to a friend's house because he had just come out the closet and was having a rough time. I am very supportive of her going to meetings. I used to go to Al-Anon meetings to try and help if I could in any way, so I said okay, I understand, call me when you're done. She comes home hours later, drunk. Obviously my mind goes straight to the depths of hell that she cheated, but I was more concerned at the time to just get her in bed safe and make her some food, drink water. She apologized, and said she wouldn't do it again. 2 months later she blamed me for ruining their friendship because I was uncomfortable that another man needed my GF to come over to his house. I also am ashamed to say I went through her phone once after this, and noticed various messages deleted since the conversation didn't make sense. Well, the next day I get to the house, same thing, no answer, no text, and she proceeds to come home and act like I couldn't smell the alcohol on her. She's said multiple different stories, saying she was at a restaurant, her friend's parents' house, her father's house who's 20+ years sober himself, none of which made sense, and that she doesn't need to explain herself since I wouldn't believe her anyways. At this point my insecurity is at an all-time high with her, yet I still stick with her and believe her. I don't lie well or often, so I seem to expect other people to do the same with me. I am probably naive in this regard and probably didn't want to believe she would cheat looking back. She has since gotten defensive whenever I've expressed how I felt about all of these scenarios, and I would say we slipped into a situationship by the end of last year. I moved my stuff out mid-December. I truly realized at our romantic relationship was over. I was still sleeping over and occasionally having with her, but I think because of her alcoholism I still wanted to be friends and to be there for her. So of course I spent the holidays with her family, took her out for Valentine's Day, and I'd say up to Easter is where I decided to go no contact. She wasn't being a good friend at the time, so I thought our entire relationship was done. This lasted about a month, until I broke my leg and she found out. She called me and we spoke for hours after my surgery, and she eventually came over to my house and we hung out for an hour or two. I went in for a kiss as she was leaving. I was just happy to see her, and even though we were just friends we still kissed the last time I saw her a month previously, but I could tell she wasn't feeling it. We started talking again, not hanging out because I broke my right leg and can't drive, but we were planning to hang out that weekend. She had a friend's kid's kindergarten party at 12 that Saturday, so I told her to call me after. No call till Sunday, and she decided to get frustrated at me for not calling her, even though she knew I had no plans and was really looking forward to seeing her and getting out the house. We then didn't talk for a week. I even called her weds to see if she was okay. She also knew that my grandma foster mother had recently got admitted to the ER and is still on her deathbed as I type this, so this has honestly been one of, if not the worst months of my life, and all I wanted was her to give a f anyone really, but her mainly. I don't have many people at all in my life. She's always been very selfish, but to not even show up once or even text call really hurt. Obviously my logic says to never contact this girl again, but my heart can't seem to get it. I called her this Saturday, and we actually hung out. I was surprised. I said let's get dinner and go see a movie. I can't physically do much else lol, and she said to pack a bag as we were going to see a mutual friend the next day. We had a great night until we got back to her place. She immediately says let me get the guest room ready, and I was honestly shocked, as we've been broken up and still slept together before we're grown. We've seen each other naked. It was just weird to me and wasn't a big deal in my head if we slept together. She was visibly frustrated when I asked if she was serious, and I feel like out of pity she said she was kidding. She usually at least sleeps without her shirt and in her underwear, but she didn't change out of her clothes. Of course it would have been nice to try and have, I hadn't had since her about 2 months prior, but after her kidding I wasn't going to try. I would have been happy with a damn hug or cuddling at that point with all I've been through this month. Am I crazy for trying to remain friends with this girl? Did she cheat on me in 2023? I couldn't be friends if she did cheat. I think I am just stuck on the fact that we've known each other for so long. We live in a small town and have mutual friends. I truly know that our romantic relationship is over and I just wanted to be friends that occasionally would be nice lol, we definitely don't have to though. They say to not have a relationship for a year after rehab, but we jumped right into it again, leading me to believe she just wasn't ready for a relationship. TLDR, did this girl cheat on me? Would you be friends with someone like this? What would you do from here? Known this girl for most of my life, willing to put romantic relationship behind us if she didn't cheat.